Okay, guys, I'm going to get straight to it. I'm gonna play this intro. It's called "The Vanishing Black Family." Special report came out in 1986. Uh, Pay close attention to how these females answer the questions, and also pay attention to their facial expressions. Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that. You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father.
My father wasn't in the home, so it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
I ain't thinking about holding up for no sex, my man. You know, if a girl, she get having a baby, carrying a baby, hey, that's on her. I'm not gonna stop my pleasures because of another woman.
What about birth control? What about condoms?
Girls don't like them things. They don't like them things. Girls tell you to take them things off. They figure that you saying that they filthy or they dirty or something.
It's been a startling change in values. 25 years ago, you would not have heard such things said so freely because they were not embraced so widely. The strong family was still the backbone of Black America, and 3 out of 4 children had both parents at home. That is true no longer. Most Black children are now growing up without their fathers. The result is a world turned upside down as children copy what they see and repeat what they learn. LaDawn said she didn't have a father in her home and doesn't think her children need one. She's not unusual. Half the Black families today are headed only by a woman. Clorinda said she could make it on her own as a single parent. She has never been married and is raising her daughter without a man's help. She's not unusual. Today, nearly 60% of all Black children are born out of wedlock. Timothy said his children... 60%. This was in the 80s, 60%. ...are not his responsibility. He has left them to be supported by their mothers and welfare. He's not unusual either. For LaDawn and Clorinda and Timothy, and many more like them in cities all over America, the traditional family no longer exists. It has vanished, and something new is taking its place. Single women and the children they're rearing alone are the fastest growing part of the Black population. What becomes of the Black family in a world where the values are being turned upside down?
If the parent is 17 and 18, uneducated, unmotivated, fooling around, wandering around, what's the child going to learn? Who's to teach him? When you learn something, you was taught by your parents. It was reinforced by school and your neighbors, but it was taught by your parents. Well, if the parents don't know anything, how are they going to teach the children? So it's not racism that I'm fighting right now. It's the lack of motivation. I'm not even talking about racism. Maybe later on we'll get back to that. But I think we are destroying ourselves.
So did you catch that? She said it's not racism. It's the lack of motivation, lack of morals. So I'm going to fast forward. I think it's some commercials in here. I like how he's banging on those pots and pans. I was kind of grooving to that rhythm. It's kind of cool. All right, let me fast forward. I don't want to see these 80s commercials. Q-tips, yeah. Okay, come on, computer.
In the ghetto are brought here usually by television and usually only when there are violent pictures to show. But we have to come here if you want to understand those fearsome statistics about the vanishing Black family. Now, a lot of white families are in trouble too. Single-parent families are twice as common in America today as they were 20 years ago. But for the majority of white children, family still means a mother and a father. This is not true for most black children. For them, things are getting worse. Today, black teenagers have the highest pregnancy rate in the industrial world. And in the black inner city, practically no teenage mother gets married. That's no racist comment. What's happening goes far beyond race. Why then do so many teenage girls get pregnant and have children? Why do so many fathers abandon their families? The answers begin with the people here. They told us what happens to family when mothers or children, fathers don't count, and the street is the strongest school.
Good morning. Chuck over here, Bob Slade, standing by. We are going to check with you on
Okay. That's a lot.
It is the beginning of another school day in Newark, New Jersey. Another day of class for Clorinda Henderson. She is 17 and had hoped to graduate from high school next year, but that was before the birth of her baby.
I dreamed that having a little baby, you could just cuddle your arm, just hug all the time, kiss on it, smell it, because it's so sweet. I thought it'd be fun until I had it.
She said she thought it'd be fun until she had the baby. But she's talking about the baby like it's a doll baby. Oh, it's so cute, it's sweet. Look how she's smiling. She's 17, but how old is she mentally?
The reality is different.
Reality just punched me right in the eye. I had to pinch myself and see if I was here because I was like, this is too much.
Clorinda was only 15 when she got pregnant with her daughter, Shaquana. She is not unusual. Half of all black teenagers become pregnant. Clorinda has never been married. She's still living with her mother at home where she's raising her baby daughter. Clorinda goes to a special school for dropouts after she takes her daughter to a daycare center. She has 5th grade math skills and reads at a 6th grade level.
When I got pregnant, I said, well, I'm going to have this baby, and she's not going to stand in the way of my education. I'm not going to let no one stand in the way of my education. I ain't going to be like these other girls, just drop out, can't get no job, no money, have to be on welfare.
Ready. On the vocabulary. Bingo.
Clorinda learned about birth control in sex education courses, but she still became pregnant. You think it was a mistake?
Well, I'll say no, because I wasn't on any, birth control methods. Neither was he. And, we were sexually active, and when it happened, it just happened.
When you think back to that day when you learned you were pregnant, what went through your mind?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna tell my mother. And I'm gonna tell my mother she gonna make me get an abortion. I was really scared, I think.
Why didn't you want to get an abortion?
Because I wanted his baby.
What did you like about it?
His legs.
His legs.
I got a thing for bow-legged boys.
Bow-legged boy.
I love them. They have some gorgeous legs. I just don't.
She said she had his baby because she liked the baby's fault, the boyfriend's legs.
Darren Lyle is the father of Clorinda's baby. He is 18 and lives in central Newark. He dropped out of high school when he was 16. He has never held a steady job.
I spend most of my time listening to the radio. When I don't go to school, I don't work, I don't do nothing. Just like this killing time.
Did you want to have a baby?
Not really. It just happened. She just popped up pregnant. And I just.
Were your friends impressed?
Everybody was telling me, that she looked just like me, and she is kind of cute, and kind of pretty. That was like, make me feel good.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do many of them have babies?
That seems like that's all they be doing if I ain't making babies and making babies.
So for the people who came to my comment section talking about, well, having babies wasn't a way of life. I was speaking of the 1990s. This came out in 86. And when I made that comment, I wasn't speaking of every black area, every black America as a whole. In a lot of areas, having children as a teenager, having babies, yes, that was a way of life. And as you just heard this young man say, that's what everybody was doing. Everybody was having a baby. I think maybe Generation Xers or baby boomers can maybe understand, but I don't know. Maybe a lot of millennials have been coming and seeing this, and they're not, they weren't a part of that, so they really don't understand. But yes, this was a way of life.
Darren told us that in this neighborhood, it's easy to get involved with girls and easy to get into trouble. Darren has been arrested 5 times for stealing, suspicion of homicide, and for possession of a deadly weapon.
It's easy to get involved with girls. Why? Because there's no fathers in the home. There's no covering. There's no protection. So yes, all of these young men had easy access to these young girls.
When you were arrested for carrying a dangerous weapon, what was it?
One of those big machetes.
Machete?
Knives and big knives.
You mean you just carried it around with you?
I used to bring it to school with me.
I mean, that's just hard to conceal that, isn't it?
Nah, because I had like this blue coat. It was like a blue goose. And I poked a hole in the pocket of it. And I just put it right in there.
Isn't that dangerous?
That's the way stuff was going, like that's the way the people was acting towards me. So I felt like I needed a weapon. Because, it used to seem like, it's like a war, really like Vietnam.
Have you asked Darren to help you with the baby?
No, because I see he can't even help himself. He can't. It's pitiful to say that, but he can't.
He wasn't prepared to be a father?
No. And he still isn't.
Were you ready to be a mother?
Well, no. But now that I am, I just have to take it step by step.
You should not tender-headed.
Clorinda relies on welfare to support Shaquana, but it's her mother, Gloria Henderson, who gets the check for the whole family. Gloria, 34, has never been married. She was a teenager when Clorinda was born, just as her own mother, Clorinda's grandmother, had been when Gloria was born.
Generational. The mother had her young and grandma had the mother young, so it's generational.
When you were pregnant, did you assume that you could turn to welfare for help after the baby came?
Well, yeah, but I didn't have her just to collect welfare. I had her because I felt that it would have been a part of me. I would have had somebody to live for and also somebody to love and love me back.
Is your daughter the first person you've ever loved?
I really, really love my daughter.
She said she was looking for someone to love her back. And I mentioned that before. A lot of these women, these young girls are having children. They want something to love them in return. And see, she grew up without her father, and that's another factor. So this is what happens when you have these broken families like this. So you have you have a child to fill that void, that emptiness in your heart. And that's not the purpose of a child.
2 months after the birth of their baby, Clorinda was pregnant again by Darren. This time she had an abortion. She didn't think she could handle 2 little children while still a teenager herself. Your grandmother was a single woman with a child. Your mother, a single woman with a child. Now you. Why is that happening?
I really didn't plan on getting pregnant, but
see, she used abortion as the birth control. She didn't plan on getting pregnant, so she got pregnant second time. I actually missed this part when I watched it the first time. I didn't know that she had a second baby, but instead of getting on birth control, she used the abortion as the birth control, which was also common as well.
But if I really had somebody to really sit down and talk to, like really express my feelings to them, I don't think none of this would have happened. And then when it did happen, my grandmother's like, I told you this, I told you this. Tell me nothing.
Nobody told Darren anything either. He too lives at home with his mother. Where's your father?
Locked up.
Locked up where?
Green Street.
What for?
Fighting, violence, stuff like that.
Had anybody ever told you what it is like to be a father?
I like watching other older, that had
Did you learn
kids.
from them? How did you?
I learned that they take a lot of patience. Take a lot of patience.
You have a lot of patience.
I don't got a lot of patience.
Clorinda doesn't always have a lot of patience either.
You want to fight? Then don't ask me if I want to fight. If you don't want to fight. Don't say to me.
My question,
Damn, and they smoking cigarettes? Ooh.
Come in now.
talk to you. You like going out like that.
No, you went out. You shouldn't have said nothing to me. You done already pissed me off.
What I do?
2 months after her abortion, Clorinda and Darren broke off their relationship. They see each other rarely now. Once in a while, Clorinda will take Shaquana to visit. Do you ever think about marrying Clorinda? Why not?
I ain't thinking about that. Nah, that's the last thing on my mind.
Do you ever feel depressed?
I don't be like sad. I just be like frustrated. I be like really like frustrated.
What are the odds that your daughter will follow the same route? Because there was your grandmother,
No,
your mother, and you.
no, I see to that.
How?
She won't. I would sit down, I would talk to her about her being a young lady. Like, Juana, if you go out here, you have sex, be sure you on birth control. Or, if you do have sex, make sure whoever you having sex with care about you. Don't just let them them get over on you thinking they got a piece of the action. Now they can go tell Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Did your mother tell you those things?
No.
You tell them to yourself?
I talk to myself in the mirror. But
And you say no?
no. And like I said to my daughter, no more.
Now, Selsun Blue, the #1 doctor.
Ooh, I remember that shampoo. Anyway, I'm going to this is from 1986. I have a headache now. I don't even know why I wanted to do this. But I wanted to show this because, as I said earlier, people were talking about it wasn't a way of life and they don't know where I got this information from. I lived in DC in the 90s. It was a way of life, but it started from the 80s and the 70s and on backwards. So we're asking ourselves, well, what happened to the family? Well, this is what happened. And it didn't start with us. We learned this from generations prior, but it was all done. It was social engineering. It was intentional. But yeah, it's yeah, I have a headache. I'm going to come back later on, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, and I'm going to do part 2 to this documentary. So I'll see you guys on part 2.